You know, cancer is not an easy thing to be told that you have. I was really surprised when I was away looking after Robert, our oldest son, who was at the University of Georgia. He was not feeling well, was really quite sick, and so I took off quickly to go look after him. And in my packing, I did not take this neti sponge that I had used in the shower that probably had prevented me from doing a monthly self-check for a couple of months. And so it was a good thing that I did not pack it. And at the end of looking after Robert for one day, I checked into the hotel, got in the shower, and lo and behold, find this mass in my left breast that was tremendous. It was a big difference from what I had felt a couple of months prior doing my own self-check. It felt like a cell phone was wedged there. It was that size and that firmness. And just really was surprised. Got ready for bed that evening and grabbed my Bible and read Psalm 4 and prayed, God, what do I do with this thing, this unknown difference in my body? And I really heard him say, felt like he said, you just need to rest. You need to wake up tomorrow and take the next step. When I got home that day from Athens, Rob came home from work, and, you know, hello, we've been married 25 years, at that point 24, and he knew that something wasn't right in my demeanor. And how was your trip? It was good. How's Robert? He's fine. Are you sure? Yeah, honey, he's fine. Is there anything bothering you? No, nothing. Okay, yes, you know, I didn't want to tell you, I didn't want you to be worried, but I found a mass in my breast. It's very palpable, very firm, very large, and I have an appointment to see my OB/GYN tomorrow. From that moment on, it was one step after another of seeing this doctor or that doctor and going to this test and that test, and eventually being told that I actually had breast cancer. Dr. Pippus, when we met with him, decided that I was a good candidate for neoadjuvant therapy, which means that I would do my chemo first, then follow that with surgery, which for me, I was hoping for a lumpectomy, and then follow that up with radiation with Dr. Cuba at the John B. Amos Cancer Center. Dr. Pippus had introduced me to Lori Moser, my nurse navigator, which I think is one of the best things that the John B. Amos Cancer Center does for these breast cancer patients, is to provide them with this nurse navigator, because Lori was a third set of ears in the room for us. And one of the things that she had shared with me very early on in all of this was, you might want to go ahead and look at wigs while you still have your hair and find a style that is close to what you have or that you're comfortable with. She said you could do something totally different if you want. So within probably 3 weeks of beginning chemo, the hair was becoming thinner. That particular weekend was Easter weekend of 2010, and I could tell it was not hanging on very well. It was harder to style. It was actually more frustrating, and so I got up one morning that Saturday to fix my hair for the day, and I think more blew off as the hairdryer was blowing than what was remaining on the brush. So I was trying to, you know, straighten it or curl it or, you know, smooth it, and it was flying off. And I thought, you know, today is the day. It's time. I had a wig already that I had gotten a friend to go with me to pick out at the John B. Amos Cancer Center boutique. So we had that in our possession, and my sister and my future daughter-in-law, Sigourney, and I went together, and they watched while I had it shaved, and I was glad that they were with me. They were great backup. The other one who was along with us was Delilah, and Delilah is the name that we gave my wig, so that when I was in a situation where other people were around, if Delilah was a little crooked or needed to be straightened out a little bit, or maybe she was not as pretty as she should be, my sons and my husband could say, Delilah's really styling well today, or Delilah's a little crooked, and we would know the code, but we didn't have to use it often because I found that I enjoyed wearing hats more. I enjoyed the wig. The wig went to church and the wig went to weddings, but most of the time Amy was in a hat. And my sister Luann took care of keeping me in knitted and crocheted caps that I felt was more me. And moved into the next treatment for the last 2 months of the 6 months of chemotherapy and a more aggressive treatment of the AC regimen. And from there, going to have a lumpectomy, and my surgeon doing a great job taking care of that and recuperating and moving into the next phase of radiation with Dr. Cuba at the John B. Amos Cancer Center. 38 days of radiation treatments, finishing from diagnosis through all of these treatments, finishing within less than a year. 10 months' time, I was done. And heard from my surgeon who called to say, "Amy, you're not gonna believe it." And I said, "Oh, try me." And he said, "It's gone. There is nothing there." And I said, "I'm not surprised." And he said, "It's miraculous." I said, "I know." Interestingly enough, another event occurred on the tail end of that news, that I was crying, I was sad. Rob would leave for work and I would spend all day in a chair crying. Didn't eat, which is not me. And come to find out in meeting with Dr. Pippas that week that I was clinically depressed. Did not expect that. How could you be depressed on such great news? But Dr. Pippas assured me that it's very normal for women who have gone through this, and I think for anyone who goes through cancer. He likened it to going through an accident in a car. You have to go through the accident and you come out on the other side and you say, "Wow, I've been through an accident," and you kind of have to digest what you've been through. And so it was a relief to me actually to know that this was something that could be fixed, that this was something that would not be me forever. And so I have come through that hurdle as well. This experience has changed my life tremendously, and it's changed it for the better. I think before cancer, I was a woman who tried to be in control of things. Take care of my home, take care of my family, be engaged in my church, minister to women by teaching Bible study. I thought I had my life well planned. I had goals that I wanted to pursue. And upon finding out I had cancer, those plans kind of went away. They got put on the back burner. And I realized that there are things in your life you cannot control. And that's okay. In January of 2011 of this year, my mother went for a mammogram, and it came back questionable. And after meeting with the surgeon and having a biopsy, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. Hers was a totally different type and a very different stage. Hers was stage 0. She was ER/PR positive. And that just floored us, because within a year's time, 2 of us had been diagnosed with breast cancer, the daughter before the mother. And I think a lot of times we think that we're home free if we have grown up in a family environment where it's never been. We think that we're not going to have it, that we're immune. At least that's what I thought, that I was immune. So it really caught me off guard. And then when my mother was diagnosed, that just threw us for a loop. But fortunately, she is on the mend and came through it well. Because it was stage 0, she had a lumpectomy, and then she had 5 days of radiation and has done great. The John B. Amos Cancer Center is an amazing place. From the moment you get out of the car and you walk in to an environment of healing, for me, an environment of hope. There's that word throughout the building, on a quilt, on a plaque. Hope is everywhere, not only in the written words that you see, but in the people that I came across. I was never scared to be there, and I just don't know that Columbus realizes what a treasure we have in this facility here. We are very fortunate to have the John B. Amos Cancer Center, because I think prior to its arrival on our community scene, people had to go elsewhere for cancer treatment, or felt that they had to go elsewhere. And so I am very thankful that if I had to have cancer, I had it when I did, so that I could be touched by this facility and everything that they have to offer. It's truly a lifesaver for me. My current prognosis is excellent. As Dr. Pippa said at my last appointment, you are doing great. Your markers are clear, your blood work comes back wonderfully, your levels are excellent. We're all excited. I have an excellent prognosis, and as far as we know, I am cancer-free.